Hey, it's Dave Brown here, host of Now with Dave Brown on AMI. Check out this latest highlight from the show.
Postcards From is returning to AMI with a new season and host. Season 5 follows acclaimed musician and writer Christa Couture through 8 cities across Canada. Here's a clip from the episode Postcards from Drumheller. For some context, Christa has a prosthetic leg. She meets with a biker named Jackie who rides a pink Harley. They meet outside Drumheller in a ghost town called Wayne, surrounded by trees, fields of grass, and the Badlands.
And does your bike have a name?
This is Petunia.
Petunia. Oh, it suits her.
Petunia.
She's very pretty.
She is.
We meet just outside Drumheller in the ghost town of Wayne.
So we've got, the sparkling chrome. You've got tassels off your, do you still call them handlebars?
Yes, exactly,
And you've got sort of a purple highlight amongst the pink.
One of a kind.
And a nice touch of some prayer flags in front. I'm ready
Just
to
like
get
you're
on.
getting on a horse.
One foot on
up
the
and swing the other over.
Swing. My prosthesis,
Is
okay.
cooperating?
Oh my God.
You can hold on here.
Hold on. Okay, I'm holding on to the
now you
grips
got
of
handles.
your leather jacket. That feels steady.
That feels good? You ready,
Oh my
Petunia?
God, what's happening? Whew, that's a rumble. Feel it in my ass. Hi-ho!
My first time ever on a motorcycle. The sound of the bike roars in my ears, and I'm clinging to the side of Jackie's leather jacket. But wow, it's so much fun. The wind, the smells, you can really take in the world around you.
Christa Couture is the host of Postcards From and has taken a little bit of time today to talk to you and talk to me. Hey, Christa, great to chat with you once again.
Hey, Dave, nice to be back.
Making a travel documentary is a bit of a whirlwind, and I think you added a degree of difficulty with 8 cities during the course of it. Where are you taking the audience this season?
Oh gosh, where did they take me? I mean, we did Drumheller, Edmonton, Niagara Falls, Montreal, Fredericton, Whistler. What am I forgetting? How many is that?
I lost count. I don't do math.
Me too.
I just do talking. I just do talking for a living, not calculation. Christa, life on the road in a work context is not new for you. You're a musician. How was this a bit different from what you experienced as a touring musician rather than a travel documentarian?
I would say the experiences were very different. I'm no stranger to travel, absolutely, or living out of a suitcase. I mean, when you're touring as a musician, you're just getting into town just in time for the show. You're doing the show, you're falling asleep, and you're leaving again. And so even though as a musician, I've been to many places, I didn't always get to explore or experience those places. So as host of the travel show, I got to spend a few days in each of these towns. We're there to get to know it, to get to know the culture. And I had a whole team pulling it off. Whereas a musician, it was like just me alone in the world. And with this show, it's a whole group of people. It's the crew and the producers making it happen and making it the best it can possibly be. I had the time of my life doing it, to be honest.
How did you end up putting the pins on the calendar, not the calendar, on the map? How did you end up deciding where you were going to go?
It was really fun brainstorming the locations because, this is the 5th season. You were co-host on the 1st season. Like, they've been to a lot of places already with this show. And so we talked about places that had like a personal significance to me. So the first episode that's coming out May 22nd is in Drumheller. And it was a special place to me because I'd gone on a school trip there as a kid. And then I had loved that school trip so much, I convinced my mom to take me back when I was 10. And that trip when I was 10 happened to be just like 2 months before my leg was amputated. So it was this really kind of memorable moment in time that was just before my life changed. And so we went back there and I got to kind of revisit those memories and also just explore the wild weirdness of this dinosaur town. The episode in Edmonton, I grew up in Edmonton. So, but I haven't really spent time there in 25 years. So it was a connection to go back there. And so it was kind of a combination of places that I've always wanted to go and places that had already some personal significance.
One of the things that I really enjoyed in my one episode of doing Postcards From was the way that the multisensory experience was that we tried to communicate it through the television screen. And even in that short clip that you played from Drumheller, you talked about some of the sensations and telling a story of travel through the senses that go beyond sight. If you'll allow me, I've got some curiosity about senses. What was the best tactile experience you had?
Ooh, well, the kicking off with the Drumheller episode, it was definitely touching actual dinosaur bones, like in situ in the provincial park there, like this dinosaur vertebrae that's just sticking out of the ground. So that was definitely a highlight. And I mean, that whole place, the Badlands is a wild terrain. So just the touch of everything being sort of dry and pokey and sharp, and just the history that's built into those rocks and those bones, that was definitely a tactile highlight.
I remember getting off the plane in the Yukon and taking my first ever breath of Arctic air, and I was stunned. I don't know if that's a smell per se, but it struck me as a smell because my nostrils had never encountered it before. What was the best smell on your journey?
The best smell. Well, we did also go to Dawson City in the Yukon, and I agree about breathing the air in there. I think the best smell for me, one of my favorites, was when I swam in the ocean off Salt Spring Island with this group of women called the Salt Spring Seals, and they swim once a week, all year round. And so they took me into the water, and just the smell of salt water, for me conjures so much. And so I think being immersed in it, even though I lived in Vancouver for years, I didn't ever swim in the ocean. So I did it for the show. And I loved that. I loved that smell.
What about food? They did a nice job of feeding us on camera and off camera in my journeys on the travel documentary, but what was the best thing you ate?
Oh, I mean, the food is one of my favorite parts of getting to work on this show because, you're trying different things in each city and trying things for the first time. Memorable, but not my favorite, is in Drumheller when I had prairie oysters. Do you know what prairie oysters are, Dave?
I don't know if I can phrase this properly on national television, but let's just go with it. Bull testicles.
Yeah, they are calf testicles.
Oh, there we go. Okay, close.
Yeah, I mean, they deep fry them, but I don't know how much you can disguise that texture. And so that was memorable. I had in Montreal, we went to this medieval themed restaurant, the Red Dragon, I think it's called. And I had a boar shank. Like, I felt like I was in the Flintstones because it's this giant bone with this massive hunk of meat on one end. And it just didn't even look real, but I guess that's what boar shank looks like. And so that was a first. So there was a lot of firsts with food. It was really fun. And it was delicious. I don't know that I'll ever eat prairie oysters again, but the boar shank was really good.
Well, part of the sharing of culture, and especially regional culture, is told through food. And sometimes it ends up being cliche, and sometimes the cliche exists because it's the truth, right? If you end up in PEI and eat a bunch of mussels, there's nothing wrong with eating lobsters or mussels in PEI because that is a local food that is sourced locally. Now, maybe animal testicles might be that extra stretch, but it's not uncommon for a place to express its identity through food.
Oh yes, and eating the calf testicles, I mean, it comes from sort of a waste not, want not. Like, calves all get castrated before they become sort of beef before they become beef, so that they don't grow into bulls. And so hundreds of calf testicles could go to waste every year. But ranchers and people that live in that culture, we talk about in the episode, there's a testy festi. So there's like a festival of prairie oysters, and it's very much part of the rancher culture. And when I did it, there was all these kids, they know how to prepare it in different ways. Absolutely, it's part of the local scene there. Yeah.
So Postcards From, the new season starts on May the 22nd. But Christa, I know you are not simply a travel documentary host. You do a lot of stuff. What's on the docket for you this year?
Oh gosh, what is? I know travel host was definitely an unexpected turn in my career, but I'm embracing it. I'm loving it. Well, I've just finished writing a children's book that I'm hoping will sign with a publisher soon. So that's one of the projects that I'm working on, and I'm kind of waiting to see what falls into my lap next. It turns out if I just wait, things like this show come up. So I don't know what's out there.
Well, good luck with the book. Please
Thank you.
stay in touch, and would love to talk to you about the book once you get it. Once you get the balls rolling, or the prairie oysters rolling. Christa, thank you for this. Have a great day.
Thanks, Dave. Bye.
That's Christa Couture. The new season of Postcards From kicks off on May the 22nd. That's a Wednesday at 9:30 p.m. Eastern Time on AMI-TV. And of course, you can catch episodes on demand for free at AMI+.ca. AMI+.ca.
Do you want to dive into more conversations like this? Watch Now with Dave Brown weekdays at 9 a.m. Eastern on AMI TV, or download the podcasts wherever you listen.